I had. Do you guys have like benchmark moments in your life where like you can feel like, okay, this was a big moment and everything, it was like before and after this event?
Like it changed you.
Yeah.
Like,
So I had an experience in 8th grade that really like changed who, I don't know, really. So what happened was I was coming out of class one day and I was with my friends and I saw a group of I went to a really small school. It was like 500 students in the whole school. It was kindergarten through 12th grade.
Oh, it's one of those.
Yeah. I was there all 13 years.
Wow.
And yeah, 46 people in my graduating class.
Damn.
Tiny little school. I passed by it today. They've changed so much, and it's like none of the same staff are there. It's like a totally different school. The names changed, but it's still like, you know, that's where I grew up, and that was my most formative time. But I was leaving class one day, and I look over, and to my left there's this big group of like my other friends that are there, and there was like some commotion going on, which was just kind of weird at my school because it was not usually any sort of commotion. It was like, so any tiny event that happened was blown up out of proportion because of how small it was. So what they were doing is, do you guys, okay, there was like a game that people would play where they would make themselves pass out.
Oh,
you
yeah.
push on the chest.
There's that.
You just hold your
purple.
breath, and then there would be people that would like.
Oh really?
Fucking
They
stupid,
didn't. Well, this one was kind of different. So, I somehow got like pulled into it, and I wasn't really the kind of person to take risk like that. Like I never smoked and I never drank. I didn't even smoke or drink until I was in college. Like I was just throughout all of high school. I was super like.
Pretty mature of you, dude.
Yeah. Well, I think about it now, it's probably because of this experience, because they pulled me in, and what they had you do is they would have you like go like bend over and then like hyperventilate, and then they had you come up and do it again, had you go down, do it again, and then at the end you would like ball up your hand and into your hand, and I guess just that sort of concoction of things basically just deprives your brain of oxygen, makes you pass out. And I didn't really realize that that's what they were doing. I kind of like had an idea of like what it was, but everybody was laughing, and like my friend Matt, he didn't fully pass out. He just kind of fell over. I was like, whoa, like kind of like it just seemed
That's
like
how kids got high back then.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it was. It was like getting
Out in the spinning with your arms out.
Yeah. It was like getting high, and I was so innocent in a lot of ways, I think, and I was like ignorant, and they brought me in and I did it, and they're supposed to catch you like as you're falling out, and they didn't catch me. The people that were supposed to catch me just didn't, for whatever reason. I don't know why, because I was passed out, but I ended up just blacking out and falling, and I fell face first onto the concrete. Shit. I broke my 2 front teeth. These are fake. They're,
really?
They're veneers.
No way.
Yeah,
dude.
and
it looks so real.
Thank you, thank you. And I bit through my lip and split it in half completely.
Oh fuck.
And I woke up, and it was like a psychedelic experience, because I was tripping the fuck out. Like I don't know if it was like some sort of DMT related sort of thing, because your brain produces DMT like as you sleep or whatever.
Yeah.
Or like as you're dying too. That's what they think is released to make you sort of have that
euphoric or
and to like seeing the light, and exactly, and like this whole thing. So I was just having these crazy dreams that I couldn't really understand, and when I came to, I already kind of gotten up. I was like on my hands and knees, but just blood pooling from my face, and I was watching it drip onto the ground, still tripping the fuck out. Like
fucking bad, dude.
Yeah, the whole world had like a red like film over it, like a red shade. And I looked up, and people were just staring at me, horrified. Giant group of people all staring at me, crying. Like people had to leave school that day because it was so like traumatic for them to see this happen. And my best friend at the time, she was freaked the fuck out, and I felt so bad. And she had like gone with me to the office, because as soon as I woke up, I was still like going crazy a little bit, and the first thing I did was just go, fuck, and just I probably look like a fucking basket case. Yeah, like I'm all bleeding, and I'm just fucking cussing, and they ended up wheeling me away in a wheelchair for whatever reason. I don't know why I was in a wheelchair. And like my friend was trying to console me. Or she was crying. I was trying to console her. I was like, no, it's so good. Like, I'm fine. But my lips all fucking, like, the meat's hanging. My parents were so fucking disappointed in me. My parents were extremely disappointed in me. I was so disappointed in myself. I ended up having a scab on my lip that was there for months afterwards, like big ass scab, and it went from a regular looking scab because I had to get stitches. I had to go to
a scar now?
A little bit, I think, but it's mostly healed.
Okay.
My lips are just big naturally, but I feel like that actually plumped it up a little more because I can feel like a hard part on the inside, kind of where it's scarred. Oh. Yeah, it's so interesting. And I had this just giant scab on my lip for months, and it was just a reminder every single day, of like what you did, and people know. And that's the thing too. It was there was 500 students in the whole school. Within like an hour or two, the entire school knew that it happened. Yeah. And I've known a lot of these people from like kindergarten, so it's like that ended up for a little while really fucking up my self-image. And I remember like teachers would kind of like poke fun at it sometimes, but it bothered me so much. Dude. Oh yeah,
educators are making fun of you.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There was this one time where I was in class and I was supposed to change like a poster that was on like a ceiling duct or like one of like the air ducts, and I like hopped up on the table to do it because my teacher asked me, and he's like, "Careful, don't break your teeth again."
What a dick.
And wow. I was so fucking mad, but I wasn't gonna freak out or anything because I'm like, okay, I just like, you need to chill the fuck out. So I sat back down, I changed it, and then
wait, how old were you
when he said that, or
when you broke your teeth?
I was in 8th grade, so I was like 13.
Oh, okay. I'm thinking you're like 8 or 10.
Oh no, I was 13. Wow. Yeah, this is like a even bigger deal because like people remember. Yeah. Like I was in 8th grade going into high school, and like that's already a really fucking rough time, like just in your development as a person. So that stacked on top of it really fucked me up. And when that teacher said that, I sat back down. I was just like fuming, but I'm like, you just keep it together. And he could tell that something was wrong because he asked me a question and I just gave like a really short reply. And I was always like a very kind of bubbly person, and like I would just talk, and I was actually really close with this teacher. So which is probably why he thought he could make that joke in the first place. But it's like in front of the whole class, dude, like, are you fucking kidding me? So he was like, is everything okay? I'm like, yeah, everything's fine. And he's like, well, he's like, are you sure? In front of everybody. He's standing out at the front lecturing while I'm there. I'm like, yes. He's like, are you sure? I'm like, you were being kind of a jackass. And he was like, oh, and he kind of like fumbled and like just kind of got back to the lesson. And then he was trying to find me around school for a while, and I was just avoiding him like for like days. I was avoiding him. And then I got called into the office, and I'm like, fuck, I already know what this is going to be about. Of course, he's standing in there with my counselor, and I had to kind of explain the situation, but it's just like, I shouldn't have even had to. I shouldn't have even had to explain that. Like, you should know, like, and I don't fault him for him now. And he probably felt like a fucking asshole afterwards too. I don't think that he meant to do it. Yeah. But it's like when you're in 9th grade, like, how are you gonna take that when it was the most traumatic experience in my life? But the thing is, in middle school, I was fucking up really bad. I was getting really bad grades, and I was not going to culminate because I had an F in algebra, and like all my other classes were like D's and C's, but the F was what was sort of holding me back. And after that experience, I became a straight A student throughout all of high school. I got a couple B's, but like it really switched it flipped a switch in my brain. It was like, grow the fuck up. And I did. And I was still, whatever. I was still stupid because I was in high school and I didn't have enough. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But I felt like it really did set me on the right track. So I'm so happy it happened, and it feels like an act of God or something that I had to go through that experience to get my shit together.